Hi guys, it's Amy at Little Farm Quilts. Um, Good morning. Actually, it's afternoon here now. It is Saturday, January 18th, 2020. This is what I'm going to call my floss tube number 9. I'm going to talk a little bit of quilting, a little bit of floss tube. If you have been with me before, welcome back. If you are new, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. So those of you that watch me for a while know that video stuff has always been kind of a conundrum for me. I usually run into some issue doing videos every weekend because A, it's either technical difficulties, or B, our internet is spotty and uploading this thing is a nightmare. Today was a whole new thing. I kind of had an idea this week that it would be nice to include my mom on the video and do a split screen video. So I went ahead and researched it, decided to use Skype, decided to use this other software that would record the side-by-side. Sorry, I have a little bit of a drippy nose. Hold on. I'm sitting in my basement and it is cold here today. We'll get to that too. And we sat and we had it all set up. It would look like it was going well. And I think what happened during the recording was my internet here, because the weather is bad, I think my internet was spotty. I think hers was fine, which is kind of unusual for us. Hers usually stinks. Mine's usually better than hers. But here in this house, we have been known to have issues with the internet and connectivity, and it just looks like when you play back the video, and I watched it, that we just kept cutting in and out, in and out, in and out, and then it lost my video for a period of time, but it had my audio. So anyway, yet another YouTube video escapade. We are going to try to test that out again a couple times this week. And try this again next weekend. But today I'm going to re-record it all for you guys so I can get this video up. And to you, I enjoy doing this with you guys, and it's just a shame that that didn't work, because I know my mom was looking forward to that. I know we had fun doing it, and she and I both cross-stitch, quilt, and she has started to knit, and I might take up knitting socks. But that's a whole nother YouTube video, I think. But I did want to stop in. I do try to get something up every week. I've been very active on social media this week, so I'm hoping that you guys have been following along there. I'm going to talk a little bit of sewing first. So if you're a cross stitcher and you don't want to hear about the sewing stuff, I will put a timestamp in the description box below so that you can skip that to that timestamp. But the sewing is not that much, and it actually, I know a lot of people that stitch that want to sew or do sew. So I figure combining these videos is good, and it time saves for me. So we're going to start there. It is winter. Definitely winter here today. In upstate New York, it has been struggling to figure out what season it's in for the last few weeks. We've had 50-degree weather in January, which, you know, they talk about January thaw, but we don't normally have 50s in January. That's just not a thing. And then it dropped this week. It went from the 50s down into the 20s, then in the teens. Now my phone's going off. And hold on, let me answer this real quick. It's cold. Like, it was bitter cold yesterday. It felt in the negatives, and it was cold. I don't like it like that. At that point, when the weather gets negative, I just assume move south. I'm not really a cold weather girl, and you'd think I would be with the hot flashes and the season of life I'm in, but I'm really not. No, I would rather be in sunshine any day. Any day. I'm a Jeep girl, just so everybody's new. That's something new that you don't know about me. I own a Jeep. I'm sipping coffee because I prefaced everything by telling you how cold it was, and I think I've told you guys that my sewing studio is in the basement. It tends to get a little cool down here when it's really cold outside, and it is really cold outside, so it is cool down here, hence the drippy nose and the tissue and all of that good stuff. I'm not sick, just sitting down here in the cold, and of course down here in the cold I do not have a hot flash, go figure. But anyway, it's nice down here. I still like being down here. My hubby and I did some more work down here. We changed out computers down here to hopefully solve some of the videoing issue and the uploading issue. It didn't really solve any issues other than it made it way more convenient for me to upload it to YouTube because the better computer's down here. The other computer that we had down here was slower than whale snot, and it took forever to upload anything, and it drove me bonkers. So for right now, here we are. So here we go into the sewing. So for you cross stitchers that don't want to hear about the sewing, jump ahead now to the timestamp that's in the description box below. Okay, see you there. Sewing. What I want to talk about first is Fat Quarter Shop does a charity quilt along every year. This year it's called Topia. It benefits the Make-A-Wish of Texas. They ask for donations, and there's a donation tab on their website. I went ahead last year. I sewed, it was called Threadology, and I sewed it last year with my own fabric, and I made a donation for the use of the patterns because the patterns are completely free. So you could do it and not donate at all, but why not donate, even if it's $1 to help Make-A-Wish Texas? It's something you can do to help other people. And my son now lives in Texas, not that he's a candidate for Make-A-Wish, but we're going to be down in Texas in February. I just wanted to participate in full this year. So I made the decision to buy the quilt kit and the backing set from Fat Quarter Shop. You do not have to. The patterns are completely free. Kimberly will tell you they're completely free. You don't have to do a thing. Just make a donation to Make-A-Wish on their website so that they can make as many wishes come true as they can. Every dollar helps. So if you only got $1, give $1. But the patterns will start releasing on the Jolly Jabber blog on February 1. So I wanted to tell you what came in. It actually came in, I did my video last Saturday, and I knew this was going to be here on Monday. It's the Topia kit. I'm not going to show you what's inside, but I'm going to show you the box it came in because it's super pretty. Super pretty. It's a nice magnetic, I'm trying to figure this out. Yep, right here. Magnetic clothes box. It just snaps together. And you open it up. And there's a nice quote in there. And the patterns in there. And all the fabrics in there. So I have the complete quilt pattern right now because I bought the quilt kit. And this box can be used for storage. It's really pretty. I also bought the backing set. It's a piece backing. So I got the backing set that came this week. I'm super excited. Not sure that I will start this before February 1st because, as you know, 2020 is the year of the whip for me, both the sewing and cross stitch. So I'm going to, I think, stick with the year of the whip. We'll talk about that more later. As far as quilting goes, I am sticking with year of the whip. I am not starting any more projects other than the charity quilt until I get my whips done. So I have whips in all stages down here. I have something on the long arm today I'm hoping to get off this weekend. I was able to finish a quilt this week. I bound it and got it off my list. I have other quilts here. Some are cut, some are not. Some of the blocks are all put together and just need to quilt assembly. There's a lot down here. So for me, for quilting, it's the year of the whip. We're doing all the whips first. And as you will notice, you'll see me post the whips as they get done because they'll go into my Etsy shop. Some of them are mine. So, anyway, you'll see them because I'll show them on here and I will show them on Instagram. So follow me over there and I will let you know that they're in my Etsy shop or not. So if you're interested in something, you'll know then. the other thing I did this week was I purchased some more fabric. My husband knows about it, so it's okay. So Lori Holt came out with a couple things. The first one was called Happy Place, and I'm going to lean over here because I have so much stuff to show you guys that I have it all over the place, like you can't see it. It's this whole space, the width of my arms sitting here. I have so much stuff to show you. My Happy Place is 1 yard cuts of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different fabrics. These are kind of like canvas, but they're a lightweight canvas, and I'm going to show you what they are. This is one. This is another one. They remind me of the old patterns. Mom and I got talking about it. It's too bad that double video didn't work. Because she sewed when we were kids, and she sewed all of our clothes. And these remind me of things I saw growing up. I guess I should turn that right side up. Oh, it doesn't matter. There's things that are upside down. Then there's this one. And that's not showing true to color, so this is more of a tealy color. I feel like it's picking up more blue on the camera. Same with this one. I think if I get it closer, it gets truer to color. And then a red gingham, which you know me and gingham, we're buds. And I think I'm going to make some bags out of those. I saw them and I like the vintagey look. And I think I'm going to make some bags. I don't know if they'll be project bags or regular tote bags. I don't know. But I am going to play with those a little bit, I think. And excuse me, I take another sip of coffee. There's something about warm liquids on a cold day that just make you happy. But anyway, I'm going to make some bags with those, I think. The other thing I bought is also a Lori Holt thing. I kind of really like Lori Holt. There's 2 fabrics that I really like. 3 fabrics, I think, because I'm looking at another one, that I buy consistently. Every year for like the last 3 or 4 years. I buy Lori Holt fabric a lot. I buy Tula Pink fabric a lot. And I buy Coriander fabric a lot from Coriander Quilts. I just like the colorways. So this is the Lori Holt. This is Happy 2. It's vintage Happy 2, and I'm not untying the bundle, but you can see. I'll leave it up here as I'm talking. You can see all these prints in there, and they're pretty. The colorway is just beautiful. It's nice and springy looking, and they have vintage looks to them, and I just like them. They make me happy. I buy fabric that makes me happy. Now, excuse me. Those of you that don't know about Tula Pink, so this is Lori Holt. This is kind of her colorway. I should have grabbed Corianders as well, but it's okay. A friend of mine gave me some Tula Pink for Christmas, and this is kind of her very bright colors. I like happy colors, which I say this all the time. If you come to my house, the main part of my house is very muted and minimalist. My sewing room is full of color. It's creative to me. It's nice. And my quilts are full of color. So in my house, I have quilts all over, and the quilts are colored. But everything else is kind of muted. So that was my haul this week for sewing. That's a lot of haul. I will go many weeks with no haul for the sewing part. Excuse me, and that's fine. I have reserved some things at Fat Quarter Shop. There was a fabric line for Halloween last year. It's called All Hallows Eve that I was not able to get enough of before it sold out, and so it's being reprinted this in 2020. So I've reserved some of that. There are a few fabric lines that I will buy this year for my personal use, but I have a bunch of stash fabric. So I do plan to do a lot of stitching from stash. Speaking, well, we'll stitch from stash in here in a second. I have mentioned to you and shown the blocks. I am part of the 2019 Designing Mystery Block of the Month from Fat Quarter Shop. I was able to get block 7 and block 8 done this last week, so I wanted to show you guys. And I'm going to tell you, if you're considering joining a block of the month at Fat Quarter Shop, I have to tell you, I love them. And here's why. Number one, the fabric's really good quality. The blocks are fun, like this one. And they give you so much fabric for your block that even if you cut wrong, you have enough fabric to make up for it. And that's why I like them. If you make a mistake in some other block of the month, you're kind of SOL, because you may not have enough fabric to make up for that mistake. I have enough scraps left. I should have brought it over. I have a small Rubbermaid tote, the shoebox size, that's full of the scraps, and I've only done 8 blocks. So I've been using the scraps for other things, and you'll see that on the cross stitch side of stuff. I use those scraps sometimes to finish some cross stitches. But I like it a lot. The other sewing that I've done is Bonnie Hundrey's Mystery Quilt. I've been talking about them for weeks. We've been working on it since Black Friday. The colors drop every year on Halloween. The first clue drops on Black Friday, and then it's every Friday after that until the reveal. The reveal for this year's mystery quilt was yesterday, and of course I worked a full day. But I was able to, after hubby and I went out to dinner last night, I was able to come home and get a couple of blocks done. So I'm going to show you those. This is a stitch for stash for me, folks. I went into the mystery quilt this year saying I am not buying any more fabric for the mystery. I want it scrappy. I want a stitch for my stash. And that's exactly what I did and will do, because I think we're done cutting now. But here's one block. Very scrappy. Sorry, I get these camera angles really kind of messed up. I don't know where to lay that. So that's one. I only got 2 of them done last night before I went to bed. Here's the other one. And these were all fabrics in my stash, whether they were given to me. I actually think there's 2 fabrics in these blocks that I'm looking at right now that were actually gifted to me from somebody at work. So Bonnie has a rule. If it's too ugly, cut it smaller. And that's what I did. But as far as my sewing goes, that's about it. I'm looking around just to make sure I've got it all. I am working on my whips. I am going to try to get another quilt off the long arm this weekend. Hubby and I are going to play some cards tonight, so it probably won't be tonight. It might be tomorrow. We're getting some weather here too, so I'm not sure how that's going to impact things this weekend. But, okay, that's the sewing stuff. So I'm going to write down my timestamp now, so that'll have to prevent me from rewatching this video. The cross stitch side of things. So I'm a little more of a struggle with the cross stitch side of things, and this is why. I tried a couple of things this week. I kind of felt like after the first of the year, you guys know I organized everything and I listed all my cross stitch whips. I've started one more since then because it's a sew along, and we'll get to that later. And I'll be starting another one because Topia is also a cross stitch charity thing for Fat Quarter Shop. But I had said that 2020 was the year of the whip for cross stitch. I had also gone through all my whips. I removed 2 of them to be re-kitted, which I haven't done yet, because I didn't like the colors and the fabric that they were on. I didn't like how they were turning out. So I'm not going to stitch on them because I don't like them. So I removed them, and I ended up with 13 whips. I finished one, which I believe I showed you guys. I might have shown you guys last week. If I did, forgive me. I don't remember. This is Boo. This is the small chock-full design. It's a collaboration between Hands On Design and Priscilla Blaine. I finished this. I had started this before Thanksgiving, before Halloween, and I wasn't able to get it done, so I kind of put it aside. I finished it while I was on vacation over Christmas, just because I wanted to get it finished, because the jar is already done and I have to finish them both. But there's no hurry to finish them because I won't put them out until next Halloween. You know how that goes. And I started one, so it netted me out at 13 whips. I'm looking at my list here. Now, I want to remind everybody, I have some that are long-termers. So, I have, I'm looking. I have a dimensions kit from 20 years ago that I'm still picking away at, and I'll show you that shortly. I've got that in my whips. That's a long-term project. No chance that's getting done this year. I have Jack Frost Tree Farm, which also probably no chance that's going to get done this year, but I am going to continue working on it. I have Snow Village, which is a continuing club with Fat Quarter Shop that has 3 parts have come out. It's an 11-part series, so that's not going to get done till late this year, if then. And I'm the Chock Full Club, so every couple of months you get a new jar. So, besides those, I'm not starting anything new until whips are getting done. So, this week I struggled a little bit. I got organized after the new year and pulled those 2 to be rekitted, and I pulled them out of the rotation completely. So I did that. Then I decided, well, do I want to stitch like the Real Housewives do and stitch per day? You know, they do Merry Monday. I think Tuesday is a free day. Wednesday is Witchy Wednesday. I don't remember what they all are. Santa Sunday, I know that. Might be Stars and Stripes Saturday. Ball Friday. That sounds about right. I tried that. Didn't really like doing that. Then my mom had suggested, and we talked about this in the other video, which is kind of a bummer that video didn't work out. But who were we watching? Off the Grid. Caroline. She talked about 24 hours of cross stitch, being that you stitch on one piece for 24 stitching hours and then you switch to another piece. 24 stitching hours for me is a long time, considering I only stitch maybe 3 hours a day, if that, some days. So you're talking, that's over a week stitching on one project. I feel like I would get bored. So I thought about doing that. So what I ended up telling Mom in the other video was, I just don't like to be told what to do. Her response to that was, I'm not surprised. So you guys would have laughed, because she really doesn't. I don't like being told what to do. I like to find my own way. I like to do my own thing. And I'm like, Kimberly Jolly says it all the time on Fat Quarter Shop, you do you. And I'm all about that. You do you, so I need to do me. So what I have now is these 13 whips are sitting in I have a wood crate up in my living room, and whatever I feel like stitching, that's what I'm pulling out to stitch on. I'm just not starting anything new. Now, that being said, then you start thinking about Mania, and you start thinking about Jolly July. I'm not doing Jolly July, because I think Jolly July after Mania, that's a lot for me. So I'm going to do one or the other. I have to decide whether I'm going to do Mania or I'm going to do Jolly July. Either one I decide to do, I'm going to do ornaments. That's my plan right now. Now, that being said, I said that and I made up my mind, and then I watched a bunch of floss tubes last night, and I was like, oh, that pattern's awesome, and that pattern's cool, and that pattern's cool. And I think I have a pattern problem. Look, I have enough patterns, if you could see, hanging up on now my patterns are not tucked away anywhere. They are right out here on my pegboard so that I can see them all the time. They are calling to me all the time, and they're all patterns I still want to stitch. I could do a Stitch from Stash with fabric, floss, and patterns for both Mania and Jolly July and not run out of stuff. I might have to do some substitutions for floss. I might have to do some floss drops. I might have to dye some of the fabric that I have to be something that I think is going to look good with that cross stitch. But I really would not have to buy anything other than probably cross-stitch needles, which I already placed an order for, and they're on their way. Because somehow I lose needles. I don't know how that happens, and that kind of scares me. But I do lose needles, or they just become something I don't want to use. They get a burr in them, or I don't know. Stuff happens. You guys can comment below and tell me if you have the same problem, but needles to me are like socks in the laundry. They just disappear. They come up missing, and you wonder, do I have a stitch fairy down in my basement? Because where did the needles go? And my kids don't live here anymore, so they're not taking the needles. So I don't know what happened. So that's my conundrum. I mean, I change my mind probably every other day on how I'm going to dress my cross stitch. I love stitching. I love sewing. And I may or may not have been challenged on Instagram to maybe start knitting some socks. So I might start looking into that. I don't know. It'll probably change again next Saturday, so you're just going to have to keep checking in to see what I'm doing. But for right now, I'm going to start by showing you my FFOs this week. These were all finishes that I previously showed you. I'm going to show you a plan for some of these FFOs that I have, because I flat finished them, not sure what I was mounting them on yet, and now I have a plan for some of them. So, and I think I have a plan for the other one too, but after this video I got to go look in my closet and see if I have what I need. But I want to start with the whips. So these are I'm just going to show you the whips that I put stitches in this week, okay? So the first one is the Snowy Jar. This is the collaboration between Hands On Design and Priscilla Blaine. I finished the small and had shown that, guys, to you. I've also FFO'd the small, and it's been on my Instagram. But I did start the jar, this one right here. I haven't gotten a ton done on that, but I did start it because I know the other jar is probably coming. And so I don't know whether to hold it closer, I guess is better. It's a quick stitch, and I love that Caribbean blue, the Classic Colorworks. I think that's Caribbean Waters, it's called, because it has a ton of variegation in it, and it stitches up really nice. The other one is a start this week, because it's a sew along with Stitching with the Sisterlies. It is a Little House Needleworks. It is called Suffrage Act, and I just thought it was important, and I started it because it means something to me. 100 years ago, this is a 100-year anniversary of women's right to vote. So this is Little House Needleworks, Suffrage Act. And I'm stitching this on 25 count Monaco that I tea dyed. Did not coffee dye. I just tea dyed. I did not bake this. I just tea dyed it. I didn't want the modeling. I just wanted the color. So I've gotten that. I stitch from top right corner down. So that's just how I stitch. And normally, if you have followed along with me, you know I typically stitch in hand. I guess this is a good time as any to talk about it. I have arthritis in my hands, and stitching in hand has made my hand ache, my left hand ache. So I have started to put things in small hoops so that I don't have to grip fabric so much. And I don't like taking a ton of meds to control that, but I don't know if it's the cold snap or what, but this week my hand has been achy. So I've been using some small hoops that are easy to hold, because I also find Q-snaps do that to me. So I typically don't use Q-snaps either. The other one I put stitches in this week is, this is a Jardin Privé. This was a Mania start for me. It's called, I don't even want to try. You're going to hear the dogs barking. My husband's coming in upstairs. So this was the first time I tried to stitch on linen. And I do like stitching on linen. I like the look of it. It's not so bad. I started on the third tree, which is right here. So this trunk and this little bit of tree over here. And I think I only stitched on it maybe an hour, if that. if that. I think that was a hugely busy day and I did not get a ton of stitch time, but people, even if I don't have a ton of stitch time, I try to pull something out and do 2 or 3 stitches anyway, because number one, that's my happy place, and number two, it's how you get done. You push through the busy and you do what you gotta do. But I think I should take 5 or 10 minutes to do stuff for me every day, so that's that. The other one I put stitches in this week, this is probably the one I've worked on the most, I think, is part 4 of Country Cottage Needleworks Snow Village, called Peppermint Parlor. Let's give it a minute to focus. Let's see if it focuses. Oh, there we go. Need it farther away. It's cute. And you'll see this one's in the hoop because I've been working on this one today. So I usually put the hoop on if I'm working on it. If I'm not working on it, the hoop comes off and it goes in the bag. I got quite a bit done. This is like 5 hours of stitching. And most of that stitching, I have to say, was this morning. I've been up since 4:30 this morning, not complaining, not whining, so please, you know, don't commiserate with me. But we have, as you guys know, we have a 13-year-old lab, and I ended up out in the living room with my insomnia anyway, and then we had an episode at 4:30 this morning where he could not get up off the floor, and then he kind of freaked out a little bit. Sorry, my throat was dry. So it was a rough start to the day. He's 115 pounds on a good day. He's got some chow in him, so he's a big boy. And he's been having a hard time today getting up off the floor. So we may be progressing into a different side of the geriatric dog ownership. But we've gotten some medicine for him. We're giving him meds, and hopefully he's more comfortable. But anyway, it was a rough start to the day, and after that, honestly, I couldn't get back to sleep because he's one of our boys. Our dogs are all rescues and he's been with us since he was 5 months old, and he's 13 next month, so it's sad. But needless to say, I stitched to get my mind off of it, so I got quite a bit of Peppermint Parlor done. I love this series, and I'll show you some FFOs in a minute. If you follow me in Instagram, you've seen them already, but I'm going to show them to you again. So those are the only whips that I put stitches in this week, which is good. It's good. It works. I'm going to go on to FF. Oh gosh, I got to show you this one. So I showed you guys this once before. This has got to be, my husband and I have decided that this is almost 20 years old, and I think I have not stitched on it because I went many, many years without stitching. I've just recently gotten back into cross stitch. This has to be going on 20 years old. It's a dimensions kit, so that tells you how much I didn't know about cross stitch back then. Not that there's anything wrong with dimensions, it's just not something I'm into now. I don't think I've stitched on this in probably 10 years. And I've shown you guys this, and I still haven't put a stitch in it. But now, full coverage pieces are stitched so much differently. They're not my thing, I will say, full coverage. But I do want to finish this one. I've started it, might as well finish it. I got it out this morning. I pressed it a little bit because it was severely wrinkled. I also took the masking tape off of the edges around that I had there, and I've zigzag stitched the edges to make it more usable, but I pulled this one back out. I'm not going to show you the pattern again, but this is this one, and it's going to be a full coverage piece, and I am going to put some stitches in it this week, even if it's only 2 or 3, but there you go. So keep me accountable. I am going to start putting stitches in this bad boy again. It deserves to be finished. It's really not in my taste anymore, and it's got lots of dog fur from all the dogs that we've owned, but it's going to get some stitches this week. I promise. Alright, FFOs. I'm so excited. So the first FFO I'm going to show you is the small snowy jar. Here you go. So this fabric here is left over from the mystery block of the month. So if you didn't watch the sewing segment in the beginning, they give you a ton of fabric for the mystery block of the month, and this fabric was left over. And doesn't it look cute with those snowmen? And I did some rickrack and some, I think it's called baker's twine. It actually came, I should have grabbed them. I had bought a string garland full of gingerbread men so I could use the gingerbread men, but it came with this as the string in between them all. And I did simple flat finish. I'm not sure where I'm going to mount this on yet, so keep tuned to Instagram and you'll see that. I'm not sure. These next ones I have a plan for, so you guys have to tell me what you think of this. I'm in the Snow Village Club at Fat Quarter Shop, so I have part 1, 2, and 3 done, and I FFO'd them Thursday night. This is part 1. It's a simple flat finish, as you see, just like the other. It's got some pom-pom trim, a little bit of the butcher's twine. I love that, and some black gingham behind. This, I believe, is part 2. This is Skates and Sleds, and if I have that wrong, I'm sorry, but I finished the same way. The pom-poms and the black gingham. No bow on this one. And this is number 3, Snowflakes for Sale. Finished the same way. And then I thought, well, what am I going to mount them on? So I started thinking. I had bought 2 shutters at a flea market back in the fall. And I said, I bet that shutter would work. So I'm looking at it right now. It's a grimy shutter. So this is one of the shutters, see? So I am going to, I think, dry brush this white. Leave it kind of old looking. Just do a white brush because I want it a little whiter because of the pom-pom trim. I'm going to do some bows, gingham and, I don't know, ticking bows up here, maybe some picks. And look at this. This is, I thought of this in my, I don't know, it was in the middle of the night. And I thought, that might work. And then I actually put it together and it is going to work. So this fits exactly in between here. And then the others will go side by side, mounted down below. Because there's 11 parts, which means there'll be 10 of these smaller ones. So we'll have 5 rows of these side by side, just like that. And it'll hang up in my living room. And I'm so super excited. So you guys will have to tell me what you think about that. And when I do get it done, which probably will not be this weekend, to be honest with you, I will post pictures so you guys can see it. But you never know. It might get done. Might get done. The only haul I have for cross stitch this week is my Floss Fix, which came out. I'm part of Floss Fix at Fat Quarter Shop. I don't know if there's openings in the Floss Fix or not, but you can go to their website and find out and get in. It was blues, so we have cloud. Let me hold these up so you can see them. This is blueberry tart. This is blue beadboard. This is deep blue sea. This is morning glory. And this is old blue jeans. Aren't they pretty? Love them. So I have quite the collection of fancy floss up on my pegboard. Like I said, I don't put anything away so I can't see it. I like the pegboard to have everything out so I can see everything I have. I have enough to do floss drops to substitute and stitch from stash. So that's what I'm sticking to. So hold me accountable. I'm stitching from stash. There's lots of patterns out there I want, but I have plenty here. So I think I'm going to start making a wish list of patterns that I want to get eventually, and down the road when I have openings. So I have a question for you guys. What do you do with all the patterns you've completed? Like mine are hanging in a pegboard on an interior closet storage. But what do you do with them? Do they just hang there for eternity? Do you guys give them away? I think, I know some people resell them, but I kind of think that's cheating. Maybe it's not. I don't know. What do you guys do? let me know. Well, the only other thing I wanted to remind you guys is Topia is a stitch along with that quarter shop. It starts February 1st. The pattern is completely free. They are requesting donations to Make-A-Wish Texas. I'm doing both the quilting part of that and the cross-stitching part of that. They have project bags, which I think are still in stock. They have needle minders. I think they have like scissor fobs and stuff. I've gotten 25 count pure Lugana to do mine on. And I got their thread pack because I like the bright colors. Shocker. Look at it, almost matches like tulip pink. I just noticed that. Isn't that cool? So I like the color palette, so I got their, and for the record, I got this a long time ago. Like when they first came out with the Topia suggestion, these first came in stock, I got these. It was months ago. It was probably mid-fall when I got these, so I keep bringing them out to show you guys so that I can keep reminding you about the Topia. It starts February 1st on the Fat Quarter Shop blog. They also have YouTube, FlossTube, and all that stuff too, so go check them out. I'm trying to go through my notes to see. I've watched a lot of new floss tubes this week. I found Off the Grid Caroline. I watched her. I watched Java Girl, but I watch her anyway. Java Girl Stitches. I found Olivia at Pumpkin Hollow Quilts as well. I'm looking through all my notes because I make notes of these. And I think that's it. And I started my pattern wish list. So, of course, Prairie Schooler's on the top of the list, so go figure. I have yet to stitch a Prairie Schooler, so I'm looking forward to doing that this year. But yeah, guys, let me know. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for subscribing and liking my videos, and for all the comments. I love them. The support, the commiserating together sometimes about, you know, our stockpiles and our addiction to patterns and floss and all pretty things. I love it. And I love watching all the floss tubes out there. It is awesome to interact with the stitching community. It really, really is. So, thanks for joining me. Everybody have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye.